Anthropic just released dynamic workflow inside Claude Code that will allow you to spawn hundreds of sub-agents, each with their own context window limit, and will able to complete your task in one prompt, and this is what true autonomy feels like. To put in perspective, I ran a dynamic workflow to create this entire end-to-end Instagram carousel series in just one prompt, and as you can see, it has spun 10 agents where 5 are readers, so they will understand the prior carousel survey and what we have been using it inside our project, then design architecture, drafter, and 3 parallel reviewers. And here is our entire carousel series just created in one simple prompt. So you can see the power of true autonomy, and it is also live on my Instagram page. So head over to my Instagram and you will see it here. I just posted like 6 hours ago and got decent engagement as well. And this was not normal example. It was 10 slides as you can see here, all done end to end with verification, review process using dynamic workflows with 10 sub-agents. Now to enable dynamic workflows for a setup, head over to efforts and you need to turn on to ultracode, which is a combination of xhigh plus dynamic workflow. So this is our xhigh. And in ultracode we are using xhigh, which is in a nutshell more reasoning per step, but this is what enables our ultracode, which are dynamic workflows. So head over to efforts and enable ultracode, and as you can see, our prompt bar will look like this rainbow gradient, and here you can see we have xhigh effort plus dynamic workflow for maximum throughoutness. Now if you didn't understand how to enable this, let me explain again. Head over to your Claude Code either from terminal, VS Code, anti-gravity, or any ID of your choice, and then use this command /efforts, which is basically we are setting effort level for our model usage. Then press enter. So on the left hand side of things, you will get much faster response, but the thinking capacity will be much lower. That's why we have low, medium, high, xhigh, and then maximum. But in order to enable our dynamic workflows with xhigh efforts, we will use ultracode that will automatically turn this prompt bar into this beautiful purple gradient. Let's click on enter. And we have our ultracode, which is on xhigh effort, enabled with dynamic workflows. Now it's time to run dynamic workflows in different type of example so that you will understand that when to use, how to use, and when not to use, because obviously it is going to churn through a lot of tokens as it is spinning up hundreds of sub-agents with their own context window limit. As you know, AI is moving so fast every single day, and if you want to stay updated with AI news, vibe coding tools, Claude Code updates, you can join our school community with completely 7-day free trial. So make sure to check out the link in the description or bio. But before we move ahead and start using dynamic workflow inside our terminal, let me show visual understanding so that you will understand how dynamic workflows works under the hood and what they are and when to use. Most people using Claude Code are unfortunately using it as a solo or one thing at a time. For example, I give Claude Code an Instagram reel to edit. First thing it will do is cut all the retakes, then I have to prompt it to add all the sound effects, then I have to prompt it again to add all of the animations, and so on. So you can see this entire process is more solo sequential, and you are hand holding Claude Code in each and every single step. You are prompting back and forth with it until you found your desired result. It is definitely going to take you so much time as you are going back and forth with it, waiting for its output, then fixing bugs and errors manually in each and every single step, and eventually it will feel like that it is just another normal chatbot that you are talking with, and it is not at all autonomous. But with dynamic workflows, it is a complete shift on how you give your agents true autonomy. So yesterday I was using dynamic workflow for React to Solid migration, and as you can see, it will map out all the phases it will need. So we have inventory phases, pattern understanding, analysis, infrastructure, and so on. And as you can see, in each of these phases, it will have multiple sub-agents with their own context window limit. In phase number 3, we have 10 sub-agents all running on Opus 4.8 with 1 million context window limit. And as you can see, this is the token it has used, tool call, and how much time it took to execute that agent. Here the word dynamic is very important to understand. As you can see in our example, right now we are only done with 3 phases, right? So it hasn't planned out anything for the next phases, how many agents it is going to spawn. So right now we are running 35 agents for these 3 phases. And once this phase is over, it will then understand the script and how many agents it will need for the 4th phase. So it will spawn after that, and that's why it is named dynamic workflow. It is not going to assign a pre-default number how many agent it will need. It will dynamically assign, or better say create sub-agents for those phases it needs. Now coming back to our example of our reel editing, our orchestrator agent will spawn 5 sub-agents. It can also spawn 10 sub-agents, 100 sub-agents if it needs, as it is dynamic and nothing is predefined. To put in perspective, our number 1 agent will remove all the retakes from our raw video, Number second agent will add all the sound effects, third one will add background music, fourth one will add reel overlay, and fifth one will add all the animations and graphic design it needs. Now once all of them are finished, we will send back to our orchestrator and it will merge all the findings. Therefore, you can manage your main session memory in much better way. For example, all of these sub-agents are having their own dedicated context window limit, so they will use them and just pass out summary or result to our main agent. So our agent number 1 will not give out each and every step it took. It will just give out the end result, hey, it is done or not. But if you're doing this the solo way, your context window limit will hit much faster. For example, we have our 1 million context window limit for our Opus 4.8 model. So we are running the first part, which is removing all the retakes from our Instagram reel. It will spun up or it will consume, let's say 256K context window limit. I'm just giving example. Then the second one, which is adding all the sound effect, in a similar manner, third and fourth step will also consume 256K context window limit. And if you combine all of them, you have a 1 million context window limit consumed. But now if you look into dynamic workflow, this is our main agent or our main session that also has the same context window limit, which is 1 million. Now all of these sub-agents will also have their own dedicated context window limit. Now what will happen is it will perform the step, consume 256K context window limit in this sub-agent, but it will only give out the result to our final orchestrator, and that can be 10K. I'm just coming up with a number to give you a better example. So our main agent context window limit will be only consume 10K step, and in similar manner for all of these 5 agents it will be maximum 50K step. Therefore, you can understand the difference. All of these are doing the same thing, are having the same output, but still our main session will be only consume 50K context window limit, and this one will be already over, and you will start hitting that fall again and again on how Claude is forgetting everything that you have said before. Because all of these sub-agents have their own context window limit, and they will execute, perform and do all of the tasks in the sub-context window limit, and they will only pass out the result or the output to our main agent. I hope this makes sense. Now another reason why dynamic workflows are so powerful, because they are not just built for only research or writing the code. They are built also for verification and review and report. Verification basically means what it has done in previous step, and in review and report it will make sure that whatever the task or goal was initially has accomplished or not. Therefore, in our verification stage, if you have done with your application and you want to find all the existing bug, what it will do is read one file at a time, which is basically sequential. But with our dynamic workflows, it will spawn multiple agents dynamically as it needs, divide them into different phases. We have in phase number 1 14 agents, phase number 2 6 agents, and phase number 3 22 agents. As you can see, they are consuming tons of tokens, and they will also take considerable amount of time to execute or complete. Now coming back to the question, when you should use dynamic workflow and when you should not. Whenever you want to perform tasks in parallel, for example researching on the web, that is our task number 1, researching our entire code base to understand what is happening and finding the errors. So all of these 3 tasks can be executed in parallel, basically agent number 1, agent number 2 and agent number 3, and that's where dynamic workflows really excel. Plus with our verification phase, it will make sure that whatever it has created or generated is accurate to our main goal or our initial prompt. And then lastly, at the scale, obviously you cannot run hundreds of sub-agents if you're doing it solo way, but you can do with dynamic workflows. So whenever you want to execute a task that includes multiple of parallel work plus all the verifications that you need, and you want to scale it to multiple sub-agents, you should use dynamic workflow. Otherwise not, because it is going to consume tons of tokens and it will genuinely take so much of your time. As you can see, like it is running for 11 minutes, 26 minutes, whereas in the first place, you are better off just running it solo or sequential manner. Coming back to our example of our Instagram carousel post, you can see I have to use dynamic workflow because it is multi-step sequence. First, it need to read all of our design principle or design files. Then it need to map out all the 10 slide content, what is the graphic it is going to use, what is the title, thumbnail, everything. And once it is done, comes our verification phase. So it will make sure that nothing is overflowing, overlapping with each other. Therefore, in this type of use case, you can enable dynamic workflow and use it so that you can take a step back and give your agents true autonomy it deserves. Alright, now let's come back to our terminal and start using dynamic workflow. So make sure that we have our ultra high effort on, and it is ultracode. Let's take our first example of adding my Instagram reel end to end using dynamic workflow with no involvement whatsoever. Here is our raw file. Installing Claude skills manually because someone just made the ultimate. You can see there are no captions or subtitles, there are no SFX, there are no background music, there is no reel overlay, there is no custom illustration, animation, nothing. It is just my face cam and my screen recording. Now what we want to do is we want to convert this into fully professional edited Instagram reel by using multiple skills that we have created. So we will provide this path name, use the keyboard key option to copy this as path name. Let's copy this and give it to Claude Code. Now here is my Instagram reel raw file. I want to apply number one, which is sound effect skill. So SFX or sound effects, as you can see, this is my custom skill. Second one is reel overlay. Third one is our Instagram caption, which is xhigh caption. Fourth one is creating SRT file or subtitle file. So we want to use dynamic workflow to execute all of these 4 steps in parallel, and it can scale with as many sub-agents as it needs. And you will be able to see this dashboard where you will understand, hey, this is the phases it is going through, how much agent it is creating in each phase, what is the model it is using, the total number of token used, tool call, and how much time it took to execute that or finish that agent. Coming back to our prompt, let's end this with using dynamic workflows. Let's click on enter. Make sure ultracode is on. It's been around 1 minute and it has consumed 4K tokens, and it is almost done thinking with our extra high effort. Awesome. So I will start by scouting. Let's come from the video. So it will first fetch our video file that we have given here. This is our video file, and it will run 4 skill pipeline, and it will automatically orchestrate them correctly. So it is gathering everything in parallel. Awesome, video is confirmed. It is locating all of the tool it needs. You can see 4 files. We have our skills. Again, it has went into thinking mode. It's already been 2 minutes and 10K token down. Obviously, instead of using skills, you can give custom instructions. Like in the first step, it should read all the design documents or design.md file and understand our brand guidelines and brand colors. Then the second step, it should remove all the retakes and whatsoever. But in my example, I already have all of them step-by-step sequence or in a reusable format, basically skills. That's why I have used this example. Awesome. So all 4 pipeline are clear, and all of them need whisper model. Basically, it will transcribe the entire video and then execute all of them by using their skill.md file. Now I will launch dynamic workflow with 4 parallel sub-agents, each running their own skill file. To view the dashboard visually, let's type /workflow. Alright, here we go. The workflow name is reel4tools and run the skills in parallel. So we have only phase 1, and it is going to spawn 4 agents for each one of the skill file. This example was very limited because I didn't want it to make this video unnecessarily lengthy. That's why I gave it simple example. But obviously you can make much more complex dynamic workflows for a use case. It is already done with our last agent. And these 2 will take the most time as they are the most difficult and include multi-step workflow. As you can see, it's done with 2 agents. We have the green check marks, and right now they are working on these 2. So let's go back. Here we have the sub-agent name, the skill file, and the deliverables. The orchestration design is I have transcribed the audio once, and all of the agent will use the transcribed version or transcript of the video, so it will automatically save the entire context window limit and your transcriber model to rerun it again and again for all of the agents individually. And it will also notify you which agent will take the most time. So our reel overlay agent, which I mentioned, will generally take more time to generate, but all of these 3, the caption one, SRT file, and the SFX will be done instantly. So let's go back to our workflow dashboard. And as you can see, it is also done with the first agent, which is sound effect one, and waiting on the last agent, reel overlay. Now in the meantime, you can assign it different tasks or create different sub-agents as you like, because the dynamic workflow is running in the background. So you can go forward and start chatting with Claude Code as you normally would. For instance, create Another dynamic workflow to research all our current competitors on Instagram and their viral reels using Sandcastles MCP. If you don't know what is Sandcastles, it is basically a platform that will analyze all the top trending Instagram reels so that I can take inspiration from other creators on what is basically working in the market. And I'm not an affiliate or not this video is sponsored by Sandcastles. It is a really useful tool. So it will spawn our second dynamic workflow, but first it will need to authenticate with our account since it is an MCP server and identify the actual competitors. So for the competitors, we don't have any specific one. We just want to go after the industry. It's not specific to some creators, but it's overall AI automation or agents or Claude stuff or niche. Awesome, the Sandcastles tool is loaded and now it will automatically complete the authentication. There you go, it has fetched my workspace, which is favorite creators, and will parse the watch list, viral reel backbone, and build the workflow around it. Now let's look into our first workflow. It is still not done. It has used 35 tools and consumed nearly 200k tokens. With great power comes great tokens. Obviously, the workflow that I have shown you is very simple and straightforward, and that's why it has only spawned 4 sub-agents and only phase number 1. But you can see in my screenshots, yesterday I was running both of them and it was spawning 10 agents in each phase, like 12 agents, 13 agents. And therefore it was taking decent amount of token and time to execute the entire workflow. And that's why I'm showing a simple example so that you will understand much better and see the output much faster. Let me check the workflow 1 status and launch the workflow 2 in the same pass as they are independent. So you can get much more work done because everything is working parallelly without you having to worry about the main session context window limit, as they are spawning all the sub-agents dedicated their own context window limit. I am speaking so much buzzword here, but I hope you understand. Awesome, our dynamic workflow run is completed. Yes, I completed the workflow number 1 and everything is done. So right now it is just going through the verification and the review process. Plus it will automatically commit so that we can make sure that everything is tracked inside our project. Alright, it is done. Let's play. Stop installing Claude skills menu. Here you can see this is the reel overlay. These are subtitles. Because someone just made the ultimate trick. These are custom illustration, everything done. Plus you will also be able to hear the background music and SFX. Unfortunately, I cannot play this music as it is copyrighted, but I hope you got my point. It has done with all of these 4 steps. Edit the caption, custom illustration, reel overlay, SFX, background music, and combine all of these 4 in a video file that I can easily preview and upload to my Instagram without me having to do anything, just by using only one simple prompt. These were our agents, their status all done, and we have the files if you want to look this individually. So for our Instagram caption, it will create 3 different variations. So we have variation number 1, A, B, and C. Awesome. Now let's look into our workflow number 2. Here in the first phase we have scan, 4 parallel agents, then pattern understanding, deep dive, 12 parallel agents, and lastly to synthesize or merge all the findings. Awesome. Let's open our workflow. So we want to select this one. So right now it has spawned 7 agents. And now you might ask why not it has spawned agents in phase number 3 and 4, because both of these agents are directly dependent on the output of the first 2 phases. So it is done with our phase number 2 and all of these 3 agents have finished their work. It is also done with phase number 1 with 4 sub-agents. Now as you can see, it has spawned 12 sub-agents. And all of them are queued in parallel. You can see how many tokens they are consuming, and it's genuinely a lot. It will instantly consume a ton of your usage limit of your $200 Claude Code subscription or whatever subscription that you are running on. But yes, if you want to do very deep down and thorough analysis, research or writing the code, you should definitely use dynamic workflow, as you are giving your agents true autonomy and their own dedicated context window limit. So it is not bothering with your main session context window limit. Right now it is done with all of them except one agent. Let's wait for it. And also the best part with dynamic workflows is you can use all the MCP servers, CLIs, any external tools that you want to connect inside workflow, and do it without you having to open the external dashboard of the applications that you want to connect, and straight away directly inside your terminal. But you might be asking, hey, I'm afraid of terminal and I want to use Claude Code inside my IDE like VS Code, Anti-Gravity or whatever you're using. And the good news is dynamic workflow is available inside even your Claude Code extension. So head over to Claude Code inside VS Code, and in efforts, make sure that ultracode is enabled, which consists of extra effort, and our dynamic workflows is turned on. So that way you can run dynamic workflows straight from your IDE. There we go, all of them are done. So we will go into synthesize agent that will merge all of its finding. Let's deep dive into what it has done in each and every single phase. So phase number 1 is scanning the watch list. Then these were the keywords, agent, anytime, Claude, AI build. Inside patterns, it is understanding the hook, topic cluster, and format pattern. And lastly, these were the content creators and their name. So we have Chris, xhigh guide, Steven build, etc. And lastly, it is synthesizing all of this and giving us the final report, research, or whatever you want to generate. Even if you don't want to open the workflow dashboard, you can see where it is at the bottom of your terminal. So this is the name of the workflow. It is done with all the agent except the last one, the time it took, and the token it consumed, which is nearly 1 million token just to run this workflow. I believe if you're using dynamic workflow with Pro account, which is $20 a month, you're just going to consume your entire weekly usage limit just mid between the workflow. It will not even finish it. So be mindful, because you don't want to consume your entire usage limit and sit idle for rest of the week. So make sure that you use dynamic workflows when actually you need and not everywhere else. Awesome. So it is done with the workflow number 2. The signals were beginner roadmap for the biggest list, 8 real ideas, and bunch of other things. Obviously, I'm not going to read here to make this video unnecessarily longer, but I hope you got my point. Without you having to handhold each and every step and go back and forth with the prompt inside your session, you can just create dynamic workflow, give it set of tasks, or give proper instruction and guidance and get everything done.